We're going to kick straight off with a fantastic presentation from BoyleSports. So please give a warm track 2 welcome to Neil Wright.
I'm here from BoyleSports. We are Ireland's largest independent bookmaker. We started in 1982 with one shop in Ireland, and we've grown to over 300 across Ireland and the UK, and an ever-growing online presence. I just have to say that that walk-on song was picked by my daughter. And coming from the betting industry, I should know better than to not make a bet with my daughter. We've seen in the keynote earlier about static marketing. And the problem we see, and particularly that I see as a consumer of marketing, is it's very, very static, very motionless. At BoyleSports, we try to make every interaction in motion like our customers, just like the games and the sports that we offer betting on. Over the next 20 minutes, I want to share some examples with you on how we've used and partnered with Movable to bring those challenges to life. I'll start off with a promotion that we launched a while ago now called ACCA Rewards. The promotion was really, really simple. Customers bet on an accumulator, and the more selections they add, the more they can win as a percentage boost. Using our pre-existing integrated Live Odds app with Movable, we created some custom content to be able to drive customers to show real-time engagement and real-time boosts. We seamlessly integrated that with merge tags from our customer database, such as balances, such as currency, to display everything dynamically. The great thing about the app is it calculates everything in real time. As soon as the customer opened the marketing piece of information, the Live Odds API was called by Movable and dynamically displayed the return and also the percentage boost. The more selections a customer adds, the bigger the percentage. Again, all in real time. And the best thing of all, the call to action allowed us to be able to seamlessly create a journey for the customer to click from the email into the bet slip without having to go through and find all the selections. So let's have a look at some of the results. All of our campaigns at BoyleSports, we measure everything versus the control group. So we can clearly see a clear measurement of success or failure. This campaign was measured against static content, and we saw a 45% uplift in click-through rate versus our control group, a really strong uplift, and we also saw a 63% opt-in uplift versus control. The success we've seen on our mobile channel, we've just recently rolled out to on our email channel, we've just recently rolled out to our mobile channel as well, and we're seeing similar success. And to go even further than that, picking up on that success, our social team picked up on this and have now implemented a similar journey on their social channels through Instagram and Twitter. Moving on to our next challenge, Destination Cheltenham. Cheltenham, as you may have heard previously, is the marquee event of the horse racing calendar. Think of Super Bowl for American sports, Black Friday for retailers. It's the one event that can make or break our year. Our promotion started well before Cheltenham even started, 7 weeks ahead of the festival itself. And our challenge was, how do we keep customers engaged and feel personal throughout that 7-week journey? The next challenge was just the sheer number of combinations of all the different variables for statuses. Across the 7-week promotion, each week, the number of status grew exponentially to 128 combinations alone in the final week. If you couple that all together, that was 254 combinations. Multiply that by our 2 currencies that we offer, it was 508 variations. Now, my creative team would have hated me if I said, go away and create 508 images. let alone my team, who would have probably staged a walkout if they've had to build 508 emails. So what was the solution? Well, Movable Ink was the solution. Let's take a look at some of the examples. So this is 4 weeks after our promotion launched, and we've got customers falling into 4 distinct groups. First up, we have Karen. She's not your typical Karen. She qualified every single week of the promotion right up until week 4. She's well on our way to getting the maximum rewards. Next, we have Dave. Dave qualified in the first 2 weeks, but then stopped. Also notice how his headline message is different. That is also driven by Movable Ink's personalisation app. Next is Peter. Peter qualified twice but missed last week. Again, his message changes to reflect that status. And Brian's next. He qualified for the very first time last week, and we celebrate that with the email and the message at the top. Finally, John. John hasn't engaged with a promotion at all, hasn't qualified for any weeks yet. From week 6 onwards, people like John were offered further incentives to try and engage them with the promotion. The key takeaway here is that every single email that we sent was personalised to the customer. That is 1 email, 1 Movable Ink setup, 1 send. Let's have a look how we did. So on the left here, you'll see a video of the various different combinations scrolling through. I'll let you know the results. So engagement versus our control, we saw a 42% uplift in opens, a 21% click-through rate uplift versus control, and more importantly, the revenue. We saw a 15% year-on-year increase in rating uniques, a 6% increase in festival turnover, and a 10% uplift in bets per unique during the festival. Moving on, I'm going to go from one marquee event to another, this time football. And Euro 2024 was a huge tournament for us. But we wanted to do something a little bit different this time. We didn't want to be doing a standard pre-tournament offer that everybody was doing. We wanted to use the data to inform the content for the customer going forward. So what did we do? As part of our pre-tournament promotion, we included a live poll, to get customers to pick on who they think would win the Euros. We coupled that again by adding that selection to the bet slip to tell the customers really put your money where your mouth is. The result updated in real time, and behind the scenes, Movable Ink's behavioural element was collecting that data for us to use in later campaigns. This meant every email that we sent during the tournament was very, very personal to the customer's selection. Now let's look Dave and John and back. So Dave, I don't know if he's foolish or patriotic, but he picked England to win. Every single piece of content that Dave received throughout the tournament included all of England's fixtures, because that's the selection he picked. And John, he picked Belgium, and then every email that John saw after the opening week had a personalisation bit of content for him for every single Belgium fixture. Let's have a look at John in more detail. So this is John's opening day email. Because he voted for Belgium, he sees all of Belgium's matches. They hadn't yet kicked off. But as soon as Belgium did kick off, we removed that selection and showed the next 2 selections available to him. Once Belgium's next match kicked off against Romania, we showed the final group game against Slovakia, and we went on throughout the tournament like that. Even into the second round, the quarterfinals and semi-finals, everything was tailored towards the customer's selection. So how did we go from poll to performance? Well, 58% uplift in email reopens versus non-poll engagement. That's a huge win for us. We don't want to be sending emails left, right and centre. We don't want to be spamming customers. We want them to re-engage with our piece of content. So we saw a 50% uplift. 18% we saw of the people who took part in the poll and engaged. We also saw an uplift of 18% in tournament versus the control during the tournament. And we saw a 25% uplift in revenue versus control as well. I want to finish, this is the last thing I'm going to speak about. I want to finish about collaboration, and collaboration between you and with Movable Inc., and particularly us and Movable Inc. We've partnered with Movable Inc. for over 8 years now, and they are the driving force behind the content that we serve our customers. So earlier this year, we hosted a strategy session with the team from Movable Inc. We invited them over to Gibraltar, and we sat down and we discussed what our roadmap for the year looked like. Our challenges, our focuses, real-world, business, critical events that we needed to look at. What came out of that session wasn't just another list of campaigns to run or another list of tools to use. It was, we were aligned on where we could personalise the customer experience better. And the outcome of that was a business priority for us. In our industry, as many of you may know, the hardest thing and the most puzzling thing is to get one deposit from the customer. So our goal and our challenge that we wanted to solve was how do we get and onboard our games customers to make their first deposit, opt into our welcome offer, and then claim and qualify for that offer. The solution was a personalised email which updated in real time, which we called high value actions. Let's take a look at how we achieved that. So we also used Movable Inc.'s progress bar to highlight progress to customers visually. And because to interact with us, you need to verify account, we have a little bit of artificial advancement, so everybody starts on 25%. Nobody started on 0%. This is an example of a profile with 25% complete. Customer has not yet made their first deposit. Also note that the call to action here is very specific to what we want the customer to do. Here's a 50% profile. This customer made their first deposit, but hasn't yet opted in to the promotion to claim their welcome offer. CTA shifts here to make the customer click and opt into the offer. Another 50% customer. Customer has not yet made their first deposit, but has opted into the welcome offer, showing clear intent that the customer may be interested in that offer. Again, the CTA shifts to deposit because that's the action we want the customer to take. And then finally, customer with 75% progress. They've made their first deposit. They've opted into the welcome offer. All they need to do now is to claim the welcome offer and the CTA shifts. In terms of results, this was something really new for us, and we wanted to learn really quickly. As I mentioned previously, all of our campaigns are measured against a control group. For this campaign, we decided to go 50-50 control versus target, so we could really learn quickly. And the results really speak for themselves. 34% uplift in first deposits versus control. Credible result. 10% increase in promotion opt-in versus control, and an amazing 127% uplift in full qualification versus our control. This was so successful for our gaming customers that we just recently implemented for our sports customers too. And the reason we picked the 50% group was because it confirms that the uplifts were due to the campaign that we ran rather than all of the other marketing noise that we had going on. I'm a little bit early finishing, but I have finished. So I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank Movable Inc. for the opportunity to speak. I'd particularly like to thank Becky, my experience manager, who I said I'd embarrass. She's at the back. Wave, Becky. I'm around all day, so if anybody does have any questions on the platform or campaigns, please do let me know. Thank you very much.